Okay. This is being recorded. Okay. So sijui nirudi nyuma nianzie kwa topic selection ama tufanyaje? Juu topic selection for me ndio muhimu zaidi kuliko hata kitu kingine yoyote. Um, um, sijui sasa tuanzie hapo kwa topic selection. Naweza enda hapo niguzie kidogo tu, na nikinguzia kidogo inamaanisha kidogo tu nione kama I can share nini ndo pale tunaonana vizuri. Anyway, haionekani, it's okay. Ile kitu naweza sema ni kwamba the topic that you select ita determine the quality of your dissertation na feasibility of your dissertation as well. Ndio maana watu wengine unapatanga mtu amechagua topic na ikifika wakati wa kutafuta articles anaanza kuniambia sipati articles. Sasa wewe uliselect hiyo topic, so hiyo ni story mimi sitataka kusikiza, because you selected the topic. Just do whatever that is possible unipatie selected articles. We talked about minimum number. I don't want to see less than 20 articles being selected for a dissertation that has more than 6,000 words. If it is more than 6,000 words, try to get at least 20 sources, because that is our data. So if you get 5 articles or 8 articles in a dissertation of, for example, 8,000 words, you'll be insufficient in your analysis. So nataka tuanzie hapo kwa topic selection pia. We can try to choose a different topic. Ile kitu mimi nilisema, because it's just a repeat of what we said the other time wenye tulikuwa na meeting mwanzo. Wanaweza kuita new article here. Ile kitu tulisema ni kwamba when you're choosing a topic, make sure that there's a problem that is existing. Make sure that you are trying to find solution for a real problem. Nimepata for most of the dissertation topics zenye mnanitumia, mingi wanasema they are fake, ama tunazungumana hadi nakuja nazichange. So to avoid this, make sure that there is a real problem that you are trying to investigate. There is a real problem that you are trying to study. So hii inaweza kuwa ni problem ya a sector ama organization, but the moment umeongea kuhusu a specific organization, make sure that the student anaweza pata ile approval from the management. That's why we talk about gatekeepers sheet. So that's why I usually ask you guys not to be specific on the organization. You can be specific on the sector, you can be specific on a group of some companies, you can be specific on you can be specific on a company, but we are not collecting data directly from the employees. We are not going to access the organization's workplace for us to be able to collect that particular data. So for you to avoid these things, for you to avoid these challenges and these issues, try to focus on a sector. If you're trying to focus on a sector like the retail sector, tell us the specific segment of that sector that you want to study. Because some sectors ni kubwa, like the retail sector, we have very many segments. Una focus kwa grocery stores, una focus kwa SMEs, una focus kwa supermarkets, ama retail sector una focus specifically on what. So you need to be specific on that. Kitu ingine, so ile kitu nilisema is that we need to choose a topic that, we need to study a problem that really exists. So inaweza kuwa problem that affect your sector unataka kustudy, ama inaweza kuwa ni problem ume-identify from the existing studies. For example, assume I want to do a research and I want to do this research on job satisfaction. I want to focus on a challenge that is facing, for example, I want to focus on challenges that are facing employees of different UK supermarkets. So in that case, nitaenda pale ni search studies that talk about challenges faced by employees in UK supermarkets. Nipate articles kama 3. Nizifungue hizi articles. Ukifungua hizi articles, ni skim through na niangalie the problem. I mean, pale mwisho kwa conclusion utapata they have what we call they have recommendations for further studies. Ufungue hiyo ingine uone recommendation for further studies. Ufungue hiyo ingine uone recommendation for further studies. Uangalie, do we have a common issue that these articles are trying to raise? Do we have a common problem that these articles are emphasizing and saying that this problem has not been done properly? I mean, has not been investigated properly. Do we have these articles agreeing on something? So that's when you now identify the problem from their recommendation for further studies. So utapata actually in your study utasema kweli kwamba hii article inasema hii problem ina exist. Hii article inasema hii problem ina exist. Hii ingine bado inasema. So in your study you are trying to do what? To fill that particular knowledge gap. So there are 2 things here. Make sure that your problem either exists in the organization that you are trying to investigate, ama exist is a problem that is existing based on findings of the past scholarly works. So make sure the problem really exists. Now, ukishafanya hivyo, assume for example it is in my case, I wanted to do a dissertation on maybe challenges that employees in different UK supermarkets are facing. So in my case, nitakuja niende kwa Chrome, ni search for example. Assume mimi sitaki kuipata from the studies, I just want to be specific and focus on a specific problem like challenges faced by UK supermarket employees. Assume that's what I want to do. So we have financial stability, customer behavior, pressure and morale, staff shortages, high turnover. So you can focus on high turnover rate. You can try to understand the causes and comment on the issue of high turnover rate. You can also focus on lack of progression, balancing technology and people, and you can also focus on rising costs. There are many challenges, of course, then utapata they are affecting these people. So I want us to focus on only one challenge. So assume in our case, tumekuja to let me choose one specific labor shortages, career and retention issues, high turnover rates, which many employees having their positions within a year. So from the studies unaona vizuri kwamba supermarkets ziko na challenge ya kupoteza employees. Napata mtu anakuwa employed kidogo, yeye anatafuta position zingine, yeye anaenda. And when you lose experienced employees, hiyo inakuanga issue kwa organization because supermarkets they are organizations, So in my case, nitataka ku work on something that is about high turnover rate. I can be working on something about high turnover rate. And high turnover rate ni kitu iko based on around concepts kama job satisfaction. If this person is not satisfied, of course they will look for other employers. So unapata mtu anakaa hapo akitafuta mahali pengine pa kufanya kazi. So nitakuwa nitaangalia causes of high turnover rate amongst employees, causes of high turnover rate in the UK retail sector, and then I can focus on for example London-based supermarkets, for example. So my topic itakuwa hivi, for example. So nataka kujaribu kunguzia kitu about the causes of high turnover rates amongst the UK retail sector. Focus on London-based supermarkets. for example. So if it is a qualitative study, I'll be exploring causes. I'm a critical analyzing. So exploring causes of high turnover rate in the UK retail sector, a focus on London-based supermarkets. So from my topic, what we said the other time, you should be able to understand the nature of the study, and you should also be able to understand what the researcher is trying to do. Why are they doing this study? So we are trying, from the word explore, that will tell you that this is a qualitative study. Then causes of high turnover rate. We are trying to understand what is causing high turnover rate in among these supermarkets, so that we can recommend to these managers, to the managers in these supermarkets, on what they can do for them to be able to retain employees, for them to be able to reduce this high turnover rate issue. So, for example, my aim itakuwa gani? The aim of the study is to do what? To bring understanding of the various factors that are contributing to high turnover rate amongst the employees in different UK supermarkets, so as to recommend the best solutions that managers in these supermarkets can adopt for them to be able to retain or for them to be able to reduce turnover rate. So the objectives. So the aim is like a reframe of the topic. That's why I usually say, for you to be able to come up with the topic, you can first of all write the aim. What do you want to do? That is the main goal. What do you want to do? Then after that, you can come up with the topic. But vice versa, it's also okay, as long as you understand what you are doing. So the aim is now the general goal. It can also be framed as a question. The main question, we call it the general question. We can have the aim or the general question. If you write the aim, there's no need of the general question, because general question is a reframe. You just need to, reframe it. Into a general research question. So, for example, if it is general research question, it will be what are the causes of high turnover rate in the UK, in London-based supermarkets? Am I in the UK retail sector with a focus on supermarkets based in London? That is the general question. So the aim is a reframe of the topic. The research question, the general one, because it is only we can only have one general question, it is a reframe of the aim. So from there we go to the objectives. Since this is a qualitative study, we are trying to bring understanding of something and critically analyze it. For us to understand it better, we are critically analyzing the causes for them to understand them better, and for us now to be able to tell the managers this and this is what you need to do for you to be able to reduce this high turnover rate. So, kitu ya kwanza, the objectives are the steps. The step number one, for me to achieve this main goal, for me to achieve the aim, what am I going to do? I'm going to, first of all, to bring understanding of consequences ama kitu ya kwanza utajaribu kueleza reader kampuni ikikuwa na high turnover rate, hiyo inakuanga na shida gani? So you have to first of all prepare the reader aone kwani employees wakienda kuna shida gani. That should be your first objective. That is your first step. To reader elewa kwamba we need to keep employees, we need to retain the employees that we have as an organization. So the first one is to bring understanding of the consequences of high turnover rate in an organization, in a supermarket, amongst retailers in the UK, generally amongst retailers. Why do we need to reduce turnover rate? Why do we need to be concerned when the organization is having high turnover rate? That should be the first objective. Number two, it should be about now the causes. We identify the causes and critically analyze them. We identify causes and critically analyze them. That will put now the researcher in a position to understand exactly what is causing this organization, what is causing these employees consider other employers, against these supermarkets. So hiyo ndio itakuwa ya pili, kuelewa na critical analyze. When you identify and critically analyze. When you identify when you are doing the interview, you'll be able to understand the different aspects of these causes, of the different factors that are identified. So that now will put you in a better position to critically analyze. So in the last one is about now recommendation. That is the contribution of the study. So why are you doing it? Why are you trying to understand these factors? How is it, or is this study going to be of a great use, among us now UK supermarkets? That is the third objective, to recommend the best, it can be strategies, to recommend to these managers on what they need to do for them to reduce the turnover rate. So the objectives ni kama the specific steps. Zile vitu utafanya for you now to be able to achieve the main goal. That's what we talk about core objectives. So ya kwanza it was to bring understanding of the consequences of high turnover rate. Number 2, to identify and critically analyze these causative factors of high turnover rate amongst the London-based supermarket, and to recommend to the managers the best strategies that they can adopt for them to be able to reduce turnover rate, for them to be able to retain employees. That in your recommendation now, you should try to focus on vitu kama introduction of AI, or consider vitu kama better compensation, but that will be told from the causes that you have identified in objective number 2, in container 2. That will tell zile recommendation utakuwa nazo in the recommendation. So from there, we go to the brief of the methodology. Kwa methodology hapo nataka kuzunguzie vitu mbili. Moja ni about data collection na number 2 is about data analysis. Ile kitu muhimu sana kwa methodology yenye professors wanaangalianga ni feasibility of the study. Ukisha kuja kuseme kwamba the data will be collected, for example, from 100 managers of different UK supermarkets, how are you going to get them? It should be a small number that is manageable. So if, for example, this is an interview, we usually say the minimum number of people that can be interviewed is 8. So it should be 8 to around 12. If it's a top, if your target population is rahisi kupata, it can be 10 to 15. Because if you expand the sample size of the interview, itakuwa ngumu kwako to do the recordings, to do the transcriptions, to do the analysis. When we have a small number, interview inatumia vitu zinaitwa open-ended questions. So it allows you to ask ile kitu yoyote unataka. It allows you now to exhaust everything yenye unataka, every information yenye unataka unaweza ipata from the response, because they are open. They can explain as much as they want. So we do say that we don't need a large number of respondents when it comes to interviews. So the first thing utasema, the data that will be used in the study, itakuwa ni qualitative primary data. It will be collected from for example, kama hii unafaa uangalie, unaweza ipata from the managers, from the supervisors, because they know what is really happening. So you can collect from the supervisors of different supermarkets that are based in London. You can collect it from the managers. And then the other thing that you're supposed to be very clear on ni recruitment. How will you recruit these managers? How are you going to recruit these employees? Don't talk about kwenda kwa organization na kuuliza kama unaweza interview, because in that case they'll ask for approval letter, they'll ask for gatekeeper's sheet, and hizo vitu ni ngumu sana kupata zingine zao. It takes a lot of time. So it should be based around the circle ya participant. So for example, kama ni interview, unafaa useme kwamba the data, for example, these participants, the researcher anajuana na like 3 of them, ama there's a few number that is known by the researcher, and to some extent unaweza sema the researcher has already talked to them and they have agreed to take part in the study and also refer, and also talk to their colleagues and invite them in their study on your behalf. So it's about, when it is qualitative data, it's about snowballing. You use them to get others, so you use the conveniently available sample, conveniently available participants. You use them to get more for you now to be able to achieve the required sample size. So it's about snowballing. So be clear on the recruitment how are you going to recruit them? And then be clear on the analysis. You should say that data it require analyzed by, the responses will be recorded, they will be transcribed using Microsoft Teams, and then they are going to be read keenly identifying codes, which will be finally grouped to things. So the process that is going to, the method that is going to be used in the thematic analysis. So those are things that I want you guys to detail in your topic proposal. Ni kitu too short, but be sure and check whether, make sure that ukinitumia ni kitu feasible, ni kitu inaweza fanyika. So isikuwe tu ni hivyo tu, ile kitu umenitumia ikikuwa fake, I want to assure you that none of your topics will be approved. Na hiyo itakuwa shida kwako. So I said you can send me 6 to 10 topics. I'm sure even if you send more than 10, zote zitapata approval because I have a large number of guys wenye wanataka dissertations. So what we are doing this time round, I said in our last meeting that kila dissertation writer anipe at least 6 dissertation topics. Inaweza kuwa primary quantitative, primary qualitative, secondary qualitative. Kama ni secondary quantitative itakuwa na maishu mingi. So if it is secondary qualitative, itakuwa poa. But mostly our providers wanataka primary data. Kama umeamua kunguzia kitu ya quantitative, assume I wanted to investigate something on high turnover rate amongst the employees in different supermarkets that are based in London. Assume I wanted to use questionnaire in this case. Nataka kutumia questionnaire, nitumie link employees wenye wanafanya kwa supermarkets za London. In that case, the topic itakuwa different from this. So we have to, for example, we have to be specific on the variables. One of the variables is high turnover rate in this case, but we have to be specific on the causes. For example, unaweza kaangalia kitu kama compensation. Uangalie determining the relationship between compensation and turnover rate in the UK retail sector, and then you can focus. So we have to see the two variables, then you can add the control variables huko chini. So ukiuliza maswali utapata other variables that are causing high turnover rate. Those are the control variables, but you have to be specific on the two variables, the two main variables that unajaribu kufanyia research. So kama ni hiyo pia, the objectives unaweza tumia words kama determine, words kama establish relationship, to establish relationship between this and this, to determine, to examine. You can use them in quantitative projects. But if it is qualitative, try to use words like to analyze, to explore, to bring understanding to something, to highlight and critically analyze. Those are the words that I expect when it comes to qualitative studies. So mtanipea at least 6, you can send 6 to 10 during your own time. After sending me invoice today or tomorrow, you can send me topics. Nita make sure that topic yako iko approved, wewe ndo unafanya hiyo dissertation. So take your time, be keen, and send me the topics. International business management, inaweza kuwa related to human resource management, inaweza kuwa related to marketing, to finance, to accounting, inaweza kuwa related to project management. Most of them unapatanga ni wa project management, but jaribu focus kwa pia modern affairs, things that are being discussed currently in the business world, vitu kama AI use, the ethical issues that are associated with AI use, the role of government in regulating AI use, hivyo vitu zenye ziko related na vitu kama hizo, so that upate professor anaona huyu mtu anataka kucontribute to current debate on issues zenye zinakuwa discussed. So dogo tu Mhm. Mm. Hii meeting itateka, nimetumia Zoom, so nataka tukue as far as possible. Uh, nani ananiambia itaisha in 10 minutes. So ina shida, wacha nimalize hii nianze ingine. I think that will be better. So for discussion of hizi vitu zingine, wacha ni wacha nifike hapo. Hii naona inasema in 10 minutes. So stop recording. Kidogo tu ndo nianze ingine sasa, hiyo ya PPT.